Manchester United are going to submit a new bid for Brian Mbeumo after the first bid was rejected by Brentford last week. Guys, I'm going to talk about the latest transfer news regarding Manchester United with the transfer rumors linking United with several players. Remember, United finished 15th in the Premier League after a poor campaign, and I think the Ineos, that is under Sir Jim Ratcliffe, they are doing something different from what we've been seeing under the Glazers. You know, where United, they don't sign players early enough. They wait until the last 3 4 weeks, or maybe 3 2 weeks of the last 3 2 weeks of the window, and do panic buys. They make panic buys, and it turns out to be expensive, and the players doesn't perform. So under Ineos, we've seen some transfers. Remember last season, we saw early transfers with the acquisition of Lenioro, Joshua Zirkzee, and also arrival of Mazraoui and Matthias de Ligt. The only late arrival was Manuel Ugarte, but it was done. But this season, I think we are seeing something different. We are just 2 weeks after the end of the last season. United are already strong in the market. They have already completed one signing in the name of Matthias Cunha, and they are now going for a second summer signing in the name of Brian Mbeumo. And I don't think they're going to stop there. They're going to continue rebuilding, because I think they want to finish signing the signing of Matthias Cunha and Brian Mbeumo. Then I think they're going to proceed on now outgoings, the players that will not continue at United next season. At the moment, we already know that Johnny Evans, Victor Lindelof, and Christian Eriksen have left the club on a free transfer. The players that were out on loan, that is Jadon Sancho, who is back from Chelsea after failing to agree on personal terms with Chelsea. Jadon Sancho is back, and now United will be looking to sell him. Marcus Rashford, who was on loan at Aston Villa, will also leave the club at the end of the season, with Rashford aiming at joining Barcelona. Anthony had a brilliant season, or the second half of the season with the Betis, but unfortunately Betis cannot afford to sign him permanently, as United rejected their approach of another loan deal. But United, they want a permanent deals involving Marcus Rashford, Anthony, and Jadon Sancho. No more loan, because they want to clear the wage bill, and they want to cash in on these players, because they want to bring in new players. And being that Rashford, Sancho, Anthony are still contracted with Manchester United, that gives them a difficult time to sign players. And at the moment, if I tell you Mbeumo is coming, Cunha is coming, the possibility of Victor Gyokeres coming is now 70%, because remember, Arsenal are going for Sesko. Osimhen is joining Al Hilal, or maybe remaining at Galatasaray. Chelsea have signed Jalap. Liverpool might go for Ekatike. So Gyokeres have no choice but just to join United. And last week you hear that Gyokeres is now open to joining Manchester United, even though we are not in the Champions League next season. So I was talking about how United can generate cash for these players. Remember, the PCR loss increase for United rose from, I think, 50 million to 105 million, and this was a great job done by Sir Jim, even though he was heavily criticized by how he was doing his cost cutting measures. But I think at the end of it, we've seen the result, and it's something we can't take away from them. We need to give them credit where it's due. United need to sell in order to sign Gyokeres. They can sign Mbeumo, and they can sign Cunha without selling any player. But after those two signings are done, I think now they need to sell and sign any other player. And guess what? Alejandro Garnacho. If you can get 50 million from Alejandro Garnacho, That gives us a chance of signing a Victor Gyokeres. Remember that. So at this moment, if you look at the players that I think should leave, Andre Onana should leave. Yeah, we can get maybe 20, 25 million, or if it is Saudi, we can get even 35 million from Andre Onana. We need a new goalkeeper if we sell Andre Onana. That means if you can manage to sell Andre Onana, maybe 25 million, 30 million, and use the same money to bring in Emiliano Martinez for this season. I know you might argue he's old. Yeah, I know he's old, but for his experience, we know he's been one of the best goalkeepers in Argentine history. I know he can perform with a better backline, and next season I think we're going to have a strong backline, and I think he can perform there. He can perform with that. So at the moment we can't sign a top goalkeeper because Diego Costa will cost a fortune, maybe 60, 70 million. And Chevalier can cost 40, Tabin can cost 40. You know, these players, when these teams, when they see big club interested in their players, they always increase their asking price. So at the moment, I think we can get Emiliano Martinez for as low as 20 to 25 million. And if we sell Onana and then bring in Martinez for this season, and maybe next season now we can concentrate on signing a top young goalkeeper, and maybe keep Martinez as a number two goalkeeper. So for the goalkeeping department, we need a short-term, a short-term solution. And at the moment, that short-term solution needs someone who is experienced in the Premier League. And at the moment, Emiliano Martinez is the one who is experienced a lot that we can depend on next season. So we can also sell players like Casemiro can leave. If Casemiro, if we can get a good offer from him, I think Casemiro can leave Manchester United at the end of the season. Maybe we can get between 35, 40 if Saudi is involved, but we can get maybe 25 to 30 if any other European clubs in Turkey, maybe maybe MLS are involved. So we can sell Casemiro. Plus, like Casemiro can leave the club. When I see Garnacho, as I said earlier, Garnacho yes can also leave. We can generate cash. We started Malaysia. Remember, we have Malaysia still on loan. He was on loan at PSV. Yeah, we can get maybe 5 to 10 million from him, from selling him. So if we can really manage, get 40 million or maybe 35 million from Rashford, 35 million from for us Anthony, maybe 15 to 20 million. Remember, we are no longer getting 25 million guaranteed from Chelsea for Sancho, but already we have 5. So if you can get 20 or 15, that will be 20, 25, and for Sancho. As I said, Anthony also, so that we can get 35 and 35 from Rashford and Sancho, and Anthony, that is 70. We get 20 from Sancho, that is 90. That is enough to sign Gyokeres, and maybe we get 25 from Onana, enough to sign Gyokeres and to sign another goalkeeper in the name of Emiliano Martinez. So that's why I'm saying after signing Cunha and Mbeumo, we can now we cannot generate transfer fee by selling the fringe, or maybe I can call them average players, and those may be getting old and earning more. If it were by me, I think even Mason Mount should be offloaded, but I think after what we saw in the last few games of the season, we can give him last chance. Maybe next season, he needs to perform. Mason Mount needs to perform next season, because if he doesn't perform, I doubt he will continue at United. After that, maybe he can even be sold in January next year. So Mount, for him to stay at United for long, it depends on how he perform next season under Ruben Amorim. So but what I'm really happy about is that they are really showing us that they mean business. Yeah, they Ineos, after a poor season, I think they are reacting positively. This is what we need. This is what we want. The department that we need to strengthen most is where is the same department they have started with the striking, the attacking department. That is a department we've been so poor. If you look at Aston Villa and Newcastle, Aston Villa and Newcastle have I think the only difference why we are in 15th position is that we don't score goals. That is the difference why we are not in that we were in 15 positions. We were creating chances, but we were failing to take those chances. So if you manage to get a striker, someone who can score goals, someone who knows how to have take those chances seriously, we are going to be a massive force next for next season. Yeah, because we've had a poor season, but if you look at this poor season now, statistically, you are going to argue. You can't argue the fact that we have been let down by our attackers, our strikers. That is because in fact they failed Amorim the moment they loaned out Rashford, they loaned out Anthony without a replacement, maybe a short-term replacement, because after loaning out Rashford and Anthony, Amorim was left with Zagze, Garnacho, and Ahmad and Højlund as the only attackers. Zagze was injured, Ahmad was injured for some time. Garnacho was giving us a mixed reaction. He plays good tomorrow he plays today he plays good, tomorrow he plays poorly. He doesn't score. After taking 10 shots, he score only one. So for Højlund, now it was horrible because there was nothing good coming from him this season. So leaving Amorim with Garnacho and Højlund for most part of the season, that was a mistake. And now I don't understand why some of the fans, some of the Manchester United fans are calling for the sacking of Ruben Amorim. Or if he finished 15th, you talk about if we finished 15th, but you don't know the numbers. Talk about the numbers. Why did we finish 15th? Don't just talk that United finished 15th. Talk about the numbers. In the previous video, I talked about the XG. United, I think, are in top 10 in terms of accumulating highest XG. Why are we having highest XG? Nottingham Forest have the least, I think, the least XG. They finished in European competition with the least XG. United, with the highest XG than Forest, finished 15th in the bottom 10. Why? Because I can give you an example. The game between Manchester United and Nottingham Forest, the second leg, where we lost 1-0. Look, I think Forest had one chance. They took it by Anthony Elanga. They had the chance and took it. United had chances, they did not take even one. That's the difference. If you have a player who can change games, who can be a difference in games, that is the player we missed. Last season, we solely depended on Bruno Fernandes and Amad Diallo. But when Amad Diallo was injured, now it was Bruno Fernandes. If Bruno Fernandes had a bad game, we can't even have a shot on target. So Bruno Fernandes was the one to make sure United win the game, because he doesn't do anything, we lose. And Amad Diallo as well was really trying before he was injured. Remember the hat-trick against Southampton? A goal and a penalty won against Man City. So these players, Amad Diallo and Bruno Fernandes, were the difference in that attack. Okay, Zirkzee, in the last few games of the season, he was doing well. After that disappointing outing against Newcastle at Old Trafford, after that he recovered, and I think Zirkzee, we now understood where Zirkzee plays. We understood Zirkzee is not a striker. He isn't a striker. He is more like a central attacking midfielder. He plays just behind the striker. He is someone who I think can drive, he can attract defenders, creating the as free space for attacker. And you saw how he was playing. He could play smoothly, slow but sure. The Saxe is slow but sure. So we now understood his gameplay. Yeah, and Garnacho, it makes you wonder because Alejandro Garnacho is a good player. He really is a good player, but sometimes he's not that strong enough to even hold the ball. Yeah, and also he gets himself in a very good position where now he can shoot, but he needs to work on his finishing, and I don't think he will continue with us next season. After what happened in the last few games of the season, after the Europa League loss, the outburst, him and his brother, I think Ruben Amorim was done with him. I remember he did not play against Aston Villa the last game of the season. He wasn't even in the bench. He was left out completely out of that game. So for Garnacho, I think there's a high chance of him leaving at the end of the season. Yeah, that's for sure. With clubs interested in him are Napoli and Chelsea. I don't think if United will be willing to sell to Chelsea, but United sometimes they can, depending on because they know Garnacho. But Garnacho is a good player, but his attitude is the problem. And if he can change that and work on the pitch, he can be a very good player. So guys, United are going to finish 2 signings at the end before the end of June, with Mateus Cunha joining United from Wolves in a deal worth 62.5 million. It was officially done. Just waiting for some visa issues to be sorted out for it to be now officially official. Yeah, it's official, but it will be official after the work permit issues has been sorted out. At the moment, Mbeumo, United submitted their first bid to Brentford after Mbeumo decided to join Manchester United despite interest from Newcastle and Arsenal and Spurs as well. He decided to join Manchester United, and United straight away held talks with Brentford. They offered 45. They offered 55 million, including adds on to Brentford, which was rejected, with Brentford asking for a fee in the region of 60 to 65. United believed that they have made yesterday they made a second bid worth 60 million for Mbeumo, which I think is expected to be accepted by Brentford, as the player showed willingness to join Manchester United. At the moment, Mbeumo is giving his priority to Manchester United, and he has instructed the board to the club to only send offers from Old Trafford. So maybe in the next coming days, maybe today, tomorrow, next week, Mbeumo to Manchester United. Here we go. You can expect that from the transfer guru, that is Fabrizio Romano, and David Onsten from the Athletic. So I think after now signing Mbeumo, they will now turn their attention to now maybe signing a striker. Yeah, to finish that department, they need to sign a striker, and for us to sign a striker, I said at the moment we only left with the choice of Victor Gyokeres. Yeah, Victor Gyokeres. At the moment, Sesko is joining Arsenal. Dilap joined Chelsea. Osimhen, he might join Al Hilal or maybe Galatasaray. So I don't think United are in the race now, and I believe United might be out of the race to sign Victor Osimhen, and they might concentrate on signing Victor Gyokeres. They can agree on personal terms with the player first. After agreeing with the player in terms of personal terms, now I think they can proceed on negotiating a deal with the Sporting CP. And for that to happen, they need to offload some players. They need to sell in order to bring in, and they're going to sell. Rashford, Sancho, Anthony are going to be sold. Garnacho will most definitely be sold. That is, Tyrell Malacia will be sold. So all these players, I think we can generate around 100 to 120 million if we do a great business in the market and sell these players, we can generate 120 million, at least 120 million from selling these players. Remember, United can spend 140 without breaking the PCR rule. So you can spend 140 after spending 60 million on Cunha and 60 million on Mbeumo. That's 125 million. That is. So we'll be left with, I think, 15 million to spend and only. So that means we need to sign. We need to sell in order to sign. So by selling, if you can generate 120 million and add the 15 million remaining, that's 135 million. We can sign Gyokeres, since we can sign a goalkeeper and also a new holding midfielder. That is possible, and for that to be possible, we need to be very smart in terms of selling players. We've been so poor in selling players. We buy players at a higher fee, but we sell them at a low fee, and we need to improve on selling players. And that is the sector we have been poor with also under the Glazers. So I think maybe it can change under the Ineos. So luckily for Ruben Amorim, when the new season, when the preseason starts, I think the first or the second week of July, there's a high chance he will be selecting, or he'll be having his new players with him, with Cunha, Mbeumo, Gyokeres joining United. There's a high chance they'll be available in our preseason friendlies, and this is what managers dreams for or of, because you need to have these players early enough so that you can know how you can get to know them better, like Mbeumo, Cunha. Although he knows about Gyokeres, but you need to integrate him into Manchester United's system. So I think you'll be happy to have these players as early as July, before the end of pre-season. So guys, that's it from us now. We'll be updating you on the latest transfer news regarding Manchester United. So keep it locked in. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Also, turn on the notification bell so that every time we upload a new video, you'll be the first person to watch that video. Glory, glory, Manchester United. Thanks for watching.